here because of him. I'd like to thank the committee, the Women's Committee. I'd like to thank my sisters Kathy and Goldie and all you amazing women. Of course, we would not be here if it wasn't for the Dr. Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'd like to thank the National Action Network. I see Sister Queen is walking in, so come on up, Sister Queen. She just entered the building. Thank you. So, October is I'm thinking about October. March is Women's History Month. I'd like to acknowledge some special guests, very special guests. You know, in March they have women, the CSW, Eliminating Violence Against Women and Girls from around the world. So they gather every year at the United Nations, and we've met women from all over the world. I'd like to acknowledge two of my sisters from Kenya. Please stand up, my sisters from Kenya. They are here visiting our country, and they are fighting the injustice of women and girls in Kenya. So we will be going to Kenya next year. So get gathering now, gather, because we some women, we black women know how to gather. Okay, we know how to make $1.50. We know how to make some lima beans and neck bones and feed 50 people. Okay, with a little bit of rice. So we know. So I'm honored to be here to talk about domestic violence for the month of March, when we are celebrating women from around the world. Women have done great things. You know, today I took my sister over to Harriet Tubman, and we poured libations, and we honored our ancestors, because those are the ones that paved the way for us. And I remember one of her very famous statements is, "I would have freed more if only they knew they were slaves." Warm is here in our community to free women and sisters and children, because once you heal the woman, you heal the family, you heal the nation, you heal the world. My sister Queen Afua will talk about that, about the importance of healing our body, mind, and spirit. So WARM is a domestic violence organization right here in the heart of Harlem. You know, this is a very cosmopolitan and a very, we're here in Harlem, and it's they have some beautiful brownstone, beautiful restaurants, but we also have something, a silent killer, and it's called domestic violence. And unfortunately, it is killing women and children in our community. So we want to talk about awareness, we want to talk about prevention, and we want to talk about services that we have, because one of the things that, one of the reasons why I'm here, one of the reasons why I came back to my community, I'm from Harlem. I was with some bad people a long time ago that did bad things in our community. So I go, and I'm here to give back what was so freely given to me. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and 15 years ago when I was coming out of my trauma, I didn't see women that looked like you, Sister Kathy. I didn't see women that looked like you. I didn't see no one talking about domestic violence. So I created this center here in Harlem for women that look like us. Thank you so much. And unfortunately, I brought this little, just a little piece of reality, because sometimes we get so far away from it. We're living our lives, we're taking care of our children, we're serving our community, we're making ourselves available for our family. So sometimes we get so far removed, but I just wanted to bring a little piece of reality. Every single woman in this book has been murdered. These are women that she lived on 128th Street. She was 9 months pregnant. Her boyfriend came and shot her to death. She lost her life and the baby, 9 months, right on 128th Street and 8th Avenue. These are all women here. So this is just a piece of reality of what's happening and why the work is so important and critical, and why we must. Because, you know, we have an opportunity to make a difference. You know, today my life, I use it as a classroom. It really doesn't belong to me. And I'm kind of glad God kicked me out of my life, because my life wasn't all that great. So when God kicked me out of my life, He created this life for me to come back and to talk about this issue. It is a serious issue. It is a global issue. It's a national issue. And if we, us, because it's women. We birth nations. Everything comes from a woman.
That's right.
Right? So, and if we don't talk about bringing our brothers into the equation, and Queen gonna hit on that, if we don't talk about bringing our brothers into this equation of healing, then that vicious cycle will continue to perpetuate. But our job is to talk about something that is hurting our people. It's a soul sickness. You cannot fix a spiritual issue with a physical. That's a bottle of water. You cannot fix domestic violence because it's spiritual in nature. So we have to talk about the importance of healing our body, mind, and spirit. So we're here in Harlem. We have a center. I just took my sisters from Kenya that we met at the United Nations yesterday. Because like we said, it's a global issue. We took them to the center. We have a center on 126th Street. We offer Pampers, we offer wipes, we offer female products. If a woman is escaping in the middle of the night, we have washcloths, we have towels, we have toothbrush, toothpaste. Those are some of the services we offer. We also offer emergency victim services, victim crisis planning, mental health and legal. We refer women to mental health and legal services. We do HRA applications. We do immigration applications. We do OVS applications to help women who have lost loved ones. There is OVS, and they pay for you if you have lost a loved one. But a lot of times, women and children and families in our community are absolutely don't have a clue about the services. So we are here to let women know we have emergency food, we have Pampers, we have trauma classes, we have a 12-week certification program for our women, we have ACS support, we have online virtual court. We have a center right here in Harlem that is available for anybody that think they might need help. And if you are not in a domestic violence situation, you say, okay, that's not me, that's her issue. Her issue is my issue. My issue is your issue. It takes a village to eradicate domestic violence. And if you turn your head and say, I'm not going to do anything about it because it's not in my household, if it's in your community, if you live in the same building and you see violence happening, it is your obligation to say something, because if you don't say something, that is going to come out into the street. It's going to be teenage pregnancy. It's going to be drug and alcohol. It's going to be someone coming and breaking into your house. It's going to be gang related and the kids picking up guns. These kids are coming out of these homes, and if the support is not in the home, they're going to go to the street. So it is everybody's obligation. It is everybody's right to get involved. We cannot end domestic violence by ourselves. That's why I'm so honored to be here with the Queen and be here at the National House of Justice to talk about this issue that is killing our community. So I'm honored to be here to share these words about the work we do, to talk about what's happening right here, because sometimes we just want to ignore it, because reality can be very painful, and it was painful for me for a long time, but I just didn't want to look at my life because it was painful. So my job now is to tell another sister, I got through it, and so can you. And guess what? I'm going to help you walk through that, because I know how that black hole looked, because I was there. I don't have a problem jumping in and going to get you, because I know where the landmarks are, I know where, the holes are, because I've been there. So we have an opportunity to make a difference in this world, and it starts with me. Be the change you want to see, Stephanie, because we can't just continue to talk about it. We have to do something about it. We have to take action, and that's why I'm here, sitting here in the National House of Action, because we got to take action, okay? National Action Network. That's why I'm sitting up in the house. We got to take action. Thank you. What I can't do alone, we can definitely do together. Thank you so much. And I want to talk about the work that me and Queen is doing in our community, because it takes it takes a village. Right. And before I close out and turn it over to Queen, do anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask? Anyone have any questions in the audience? Yes, sister.
Yes, I would like to seek counseling, you know, and,
Okay, that's your question.
all right. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that need counseling, and they need to be directed to more than one counselor. And, there's something that happened to the council that I wanted to go to. And when it happened, they told me I was right. So sometimes it's less counsel. New York is a large city, but they got less counsel. Okay, so when that council messed up and they told me I was right, I wanted to go to another one. But then they was wishy-washy with that. So I just need to go to more counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And,
what I'm saying.
yeah, and we have that, you know, I have a table back there with all the information. We have brief counseling for, because, you know, trauma sometimes will take you into a very depressing state. So we have that counseling. So all our information is here. I can talk to you afterwards. We have a table back there with all of our information on it. Thank you so much. Counsel is important. Any other questions? No? Yeah, she can
Oh.
shake.
Hi. So this question is about warning signs. So I grew up in a family where there was domestic violence, and later on in my adulthood, I ended up getting into a relationship that was domestic violence, and I didn't realize until I had left it that part of the reason why I entered it was because there was the same similarities that went on in my childhood that I just didn't recognize. So I just wanted to throw out, you know, so that people don't make the same mistake that I did, if you could give any tips about how to kind of avoid that repetitive cycle in our lives that we sometimes do.
Thank you so much. That's a great question. You know, myself, you know, I didn't get into my whole story, but I also grew up in domestic violence, and I saw my father beating my mother. I saw my uncles beating their sisters. So I didn't understand what love was. You know, I thought love was supposed to hurt because that's what I saw. But if anyone is controlling you, if anyone is telling you, I don't like the way your hair looks, snatch your phone, if anyone is trying to prevent you from your family, isolation is a big part of domestic violence, or telling you, I don't like those pants are too tight, or trying to tell you, I don't like your friends, you should stay away from them. Those are early signs of domestic violence, because love is free, you know, and love shouldn't hurt. So if someone is behaving like that, a lot of times those narcissistic behaviors is something that we can't fix. I'm not responsible for anyone else, but I'm responsible for myself. And a part of being responsible for myself is going to therapy, getting the help I need, going to support groups like the All Fat Warm, going to talk to other women. But one of the most profound red flags that we must pay attention to, because a lot of times we don't, you know, when a man comes to you and kind of shoves you, and then you say to your friends, oh, you know, he's just a little jealous, he doesn't mean it, you know. That's early signs of control when someone tries to prevent you from going to school, when sometimes someone tries to prevent you from going to find a job, or prevent you from taking the kids to your family house. Those are all early signs of domestic violence and power and control, because domestic violence is really all about power and control. And once the abuser loses that power, listen to me very carefully, because that's when I almost lost my life. I almost lost my life when I made the decision to leave the abuser. And because I wasn't knowledgeable, because I didn't have the information, because domestic violence was something that happened, we just didn't know, and no one didn't tell me. That's the most dangerous time, Stephanie, when you're trying to leave, You must leave quietly, you must pack your bags, and you must get out. That's why we created this center. And that's one of the reasons we're in Harlem, to inform and educate women. All these women in this book that was murdered, all of these women were trying to leave. And this is when it is dangerous. Because it's about power and control. Love is not in that equation at all. When someone starts to pull your hair, call you outside your name, use four-letter words, embarrass you in front of your friends, that's a really big, big red flag. You cannot ignore that. But what I want to say, the only way out is to go in. Because once you go in to the spirit, to the body, to the mind, then you will never have to go out. And one of the things I had to really learn how to do is start building my self-esteem. And start learning how to love Stephanie. And to start seeing my worth and my value. Because I'm a child of God. And he said that I was born for greatness. And that he wanted me to find great beauty and joy in my surroundings. Not to be beat down and broken. But I didn't understand what love was. So I attracted what I felt. Everything I attracted in my life, and that life before I started the organization, was only a manifestation of how I felt about myself. I didn't feel good about myself, so I was not going to attract greatness. Today, you better get on out my way. Because I have changed my address. I've moved from begging Peter and paying Paul on Poverty Lane down there on Black and Blue Boulevard. I have a new address today. And it's called Living Well on Abundance Drive, located at the corner of Blessings, right here at National Action Network. Thank you. So I'm going to pass it over to my sister Queen, because we do this work together, you know. We come together to do this work. And I want to just real quick before I pass it over to Queen. In 2016, I had a breakdown. And I didn't think that I was going to be able to continue to do this work. And God led me to Queen. And I went through her program and found another wing, another breath, another road. And last week, she came and got me because I was burned out. So I'm saying to you today, ladies, is, you know, they said, oh, don't get vulnerable, don't tell your truth. This is when God and the Holy Spirit is able to get in with. Because you can't draft a new idea in a closed mind. An opening got to be made. And the opening came in, I was beat down spiritually, and I forgot about taking care of Stephanie. So that's why I'm here to plead about the importance of taking care of yourself. And Queen came and got me, and the healing began. So find you a queen, find you a sister, find you a friend, find you a couch, find you a nice cup of coffee, somebody you can share your story with. But tell your story and share it with somebody. Because if you don't get it out, it will go in and it will create poison. So we got to get the poison out. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we had some questions in the back. I can see just a couple of people do have questions.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I was kind of late coming in, so I don't know if this was sprung up, because I just come from work. But everything that you said, I can agree with. But when you have children, and you're in a domestic situation with your husband or your boy, well, I'm going to say husband, it's not that easy to leave. Because the first thing you think about, oh my God, my kids is in Catholic school, I got to buy food, I got to pay rent, and whatnot, and you just take it, and take it, and take it. If you're single, it's a little bit easier. It's never easy, don't get me wrong. But when you were I was in a domestic relationship, and I went through hell, because I had children. So I understand everything that you're saying, but it's still not that easy just to pick up and leave. Because you know what happened? You get punched, you get hit, you get this, you get that. Then later on, I mean, we all grown here. Later on, it's, honey, I love you. and the da-da-da, I'm not gonna do it no more, and whatnot. Then you go back to the same routine over and over again. And then one day you just take a chance, say, you know what? I've had it. I gotta leave. So, like myself, during the night, I had everything packed. I left furniture, everything except for the clothes, and I left. But I'm listening to what you say. But it's still not that easy when you have children to just pick up and leave. And I just want to say that.
Yes. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that. And I agree with you. My mother had 9 children. And I had my mother, somebody would have said something to her, to me. I didn't know that they even had a name for domestic violence. If they had it in my school, if someone would have came into the 6th grade and someone would just said, what's happening to you? It's called domestic violence. I didn't know about it until I got 43 is when I heard the word domestic violence. So if my mother would have left, if somebody would have been there just to help her, to say get out, then all 9 of her children would, if not, because every single last one of Josephine's children, all of us went through domestic violence. So the suffering that not only happens to the mother, because now we're talking about the children, those eyes of cameras, they're taking lenses, they're going to develop, and when they develop, it developed into exactly what I saw. So we want to take this into the school, my sister, and I'm so grateful that you had the courage to leave. It's never easy. I stayed for 30 years. It's not easy to get out. But when God is ready to deliver you, can nothing stop you. So you have to tell your story. This is why we have the center right here and on 126th Street. This is why we have the center. But we go in the middle of the night and get mother and children out and get them to safety. We have so many success stories. That's why, because they didn't have it from my mother. There wasn't no center. I'm probably sure there wasn't no center when you were going through what you were going through. And it's not easy. You have children and, what about the bills? How am I going to live? That's why we have everything prepared for her when she leaves. Economic classes, building your self-esteem, how to open up a bank account, how to go get job training, every single thing we have for these women, because it wasn't there for my mother, and it certainly wasn't there for me. So thank you for telling your story, sister.
Hi, I have a question also, because I witnessed some young women, usually high schoolers, and they call this physical contact that they're having with each other, a female and a male, playing. And it's very, very rough. And this one particular day, this young woman, a teenager, said to the men, "Stop hitting me." And I went over and told her, don't play with him ever like that. His physical hands should not be on you in a violent way. She said, "Well, he's not hurting me." I said, "But it's still violent." So, since you say you're going to school, I respectfully request that you start dealing with these high schoolers who are getting themselves ready for relationships, and they have no clue what a relationship is about. They're certainly not being struck in a violent way, hit in a violent way, and think it's normal.
Yes.
And be upset with another older person who clearly is aware of it. They want me to mind my business.
Yes.
Because I really am not in their generation. But the fact of the matter is, she knew that I knew that she knew she was hurting when he hit her. Call it playing if you want to, but it hurts.
Yes.
So I think the more it's communicated from a whole generation of us, particularly females, that this is not playing. And you got a whole lot of us that will agree with you. It's not playing. So I told him, and her, you keep your violent hands off of her. I don't even know them. And don't ever allow anyone to handle you violently.
Yes.
And I believe they accepted it, but can they continue that thinking? They need to know that they can, because there's a lot of us who agree with that.
I just basically want to add to that. were basically sending them over to the shelter. I went through like an intern process, like we bring them in, I had to do all the intake, then send it over to the manager, and then we would bring them in. Someone would go and pick them up, bring them the kids. In New Jersey, you're only there, let's just say 90 days. The social services basically will give you what you need, you know, transportation, they give you money, they give you food stamps, whatever it is you need. But again, you're only there 90 days, and then afterwards, they basically will send you out to various places to kind of help you find stable housing. But to me, you know, when I was at the Department of Labor, I basically started to set up and try to help them go to school. There, you had to come in, take a test. I'm not going to go through the particulars, but, you know, take a test, and then we would move you on to kind of help you find whether it's school, placement, whatever it is you need to be done. And like I said, you know, I've seen basically what happened to the kids. A lot of people are not basically, you know, looking at when these little kids will come back, and you have to basically have a counselor come in and speak with them in the evening and really try to talk to them because of the violence that they've seen, you know, that their parents or whoever that they were with, you know, went through. And I think this is one of the reasons why some of the kids are so traumatized and can't get over what it is they're going through. So like I said, I did everything I could to really kind of help them, you know, move forward. God
Yeah,
bless.
thank you so much.
I was in three relationships, and it was rough. And I went to the shelter. I had my children, 7, 3.5, and 2.5. And he worked for the shelters, and he was asking his colleagues if they seen my name on the roster to call to find me. They had to move me to Staten Island because I was in a Brooklyn shelter, regular, and he could get information. And when they moved me to a domestic violence shelter in Staten Island, that's when he didn't know where I was. But even with family, like my sister, she was trying to tell him, oh, take it easy with her. Don't, you know, what do you mean take it easy with her? But money played the game with her and him. Money and drugs. If she tell me, if he asked her, where am I? And the money was talking. And the drugs was, she wanted the money for the drugs. And she was talking to him. So even with family, you gotta be careful, even with your family. Because I was in 3 of them. I went from one to another one and another one. And even with, when you're living with a baby inside you, or you have children on you, they don't care, even the men. They want to abuse you while you're pregnant, and I've been there. And the only way I got away with it is because I went to the domestic violence shelter and he didn't know where I was. But he had people working, calling them, asking them where am I, and the people in the shelter where I was, the regular shelter, it's hard when they work for the city and they agreeing with him. I want my kids, and like the young man that's the cameraman right here, he asked me a question last Saturday or 2 weeks ago. He said, are you having a hard time being in a relationship with men? Yes, I am. Because of the rape that happened to me when I was 10, and because of the abuse. I don't trust a lot of men, because I don't know. But with my voice, they say, you talk too loud, you scare people while you're talking, but that's the abuse inside me, trying to get help. And I did try to get help. And they sent me to Reverend Al Sharp's office, a counselor or somebody, up to the one on 124th Street when Reverend's office was there. And I didn't get the help, but I thank God. My children don't even understand because they were babies. And now they're in this kind of reaction. I told the young lady that my son was dating, and she had a child by him, a son. I said, he learned that, he gets that from his father, that abuse. And I told her, my son was like, he choked the girl. And I told the young lady, you need to stop it. I don't know what you got some kind of spell on him, or y'all don't even understand the way to be as a couple with children. is hard. And you shouldn't be in that, he shouldn't do that to you. And I told her, I don't agree with that. The only reason why he still got his job, because he took a vase out of her mother's house and slammed it down. And I said, you're lucky that lady didn't have you arrested, because he works on a good job. He works for Con Edison. Wow. And I said to him, I said, you're lucky you still got your job because of her mother. She would have called that would have went through the system, and he would have lost that job. But God get the glory. I try to tell the young lady, don't tolerate that, because they do that. They have that in their blood, or they see their father. They never seen my children's father beat me. But they have it in them. If somebody make them angry, I say he has an angry spell on him. And if he's acting like that, he's acting like his dad. And it's still like a nightmare. Like he assaulted my granddaughter, because my granddaughter was living with her. And she came to live with me, and I called the system. But if my granddaughter don't speak up, she doesn't want no interaction. I said, well, block his number. Just block it, but she's at my home now. And I spoke to the police about it. But she's all right. She's in peace a little bit. But she tells them she got a little, not angry, but she has a little bit of fear of that. You know? God bless you.
Thank you so much for sharing your tragedy and your experience, because I heard in what you were saying how you were able to recognize and you helped someone else. That's very important. Thank you.
And we want you in our center Tuesday, because family violence and post-traumatic slave disorder and violence, that trauma that keeps your bones and your cells and your body and your mind enslaved. And it's time to break the vicious cycle. We want you in our office Tuesday, because it's a family disease, right? Because it is a disease in the spirit. It's a soul sickness, right? And the trauma that happened to you as a child is something that you talked about. You got it out, and that's the only way that the help can come. So we want you in the office Tuesday. I'm going to talk to you after this is over, because this is what we do. These are our people. They look like me. I've experienced some of the stuff, and we know what we have in place to help you. And we have the clean as well.
All right. We're going to take a few more questions, and I ask that you please just ask a question, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you. You can stand up, and I'll hold the mic for you. Okay. My name is Gadoni Wamushomba. I'm from Kenya. I'm one of those that came for the United Nations Women Commission, Status of Commission Forum. And that's where I met my sister, Stephanie and Queen. And I just can't say how powerful this is, to just have a forum where sisters can share stories and experiences and even get advisory assistance like what Stephanie and Queen are doing. I want to say the story of America, the women who look like me. The story is one. The story of an American woman and a Kenyan woman is one. A slap that comes from a man from America and a slap that comes from a man from Kenya has the same impact. And therefore, we must come together, we must create networks across the world to support the voice of resilience and voice of resistance, and we must create sisterhood, because sisterhood is powerful. Amen. I can't wait for an opportunity like this to come and happen in Kenya, where we have a fire like what she's holding of over 40 women, young women, murdered in a period of 2 months by boyfriends and lovers and husbands. And the judicial system in my country is not like an American country where, you know, people are accountable for their actions. And I just can't wait to get a platform where I can fight for those wonderful souls. Sister Stephanie, Sister Queen, sister who looks like me. Let us not give up. Let us hold on and not only hold on, but strive to make it better for our generation. We must not look down on ourselves, and we must not agree to be objects of use by men. And not only men, but even women who are also used by men to degrade women. I believe in the spirit of pull her up. Let's pull up each other. It's no longer PhD. It is no longer pull her down. It is pull her up. Let's create sisterhood. Let's move together.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to know, what happens to the men that do the abuse to the women? What happens to them? Do they get any kind of help or psychiatric help so this cannot continue? That's what needs to be done as well, as the women and these men who think that they can have the power over us.
Her question was, what happens to the men that abuse the women? The ones that are arrested, do they get any kind of counseling or any type of help? Do we know if they get any type of help? Because clearly they do have an issue.
Well, most of the women in this book right here that's been murdered, all of these men are in prison. But do they really get the help? Right, because we know that prison is just a place where they store our men, right? We know that those men that hurt people, right? And we need to create a program for men. We have something here with Queen Afua's son, Supernova, called Heal. Men heal themselves. And if we don't start getting our men the help that they need, that will perpetuate, because what he does is he goes from the next to the next to the next to the next. And a lot of those young men have been violated themselves. A lot of them, the guy that I was with, after 8 years, when I finally ran into him, and I asked a question, because I was in my process of healing. And I asked him, why did you beat me like that? Because I didn't deserve that. And he told me he was beating his mother. So until these men get the help that they need, because the pain don't just start with me. It didn't start with me. My pain didn't just start with him. My pain started when I was a 6-year-old little girl. His pain didn't start when he just got with me and he didn't like what I said and he started beating me. His pain started with his mother. So if you don't, the first question when you start dating a man, you would ask him, what kind of relationship you have with your mama?
That's it.
Do you love your mama? Y'all get along all right? Because if a man don't love his mother or disrespect his mother, he's going to disrespect you. So it's deep. So until we start understanding how deeply rooted this is, we will never get the help. So those men need help just like the women need help. And Queen is going to talk about that. So this is the real root. It just doesn't start today. It's deeply rooted, right? So that's why I had to go back and heal that little girl. And a lot of times, a person that's not accountable is very dangerous. And a lot of times these men just don't want to be accountable. Macho, I'm a man. Men not, boy, you better cry. They say men not supposed to cry. You better cry. You better heal that soul, water that plant so it can grow into new life. So we got some work to do. And I'm here to tell my story so it may one day help you. So when you heard me say he said he was beating his mother, when you meet a man, ask them, I want to go meet your mama.
That's it.
How you get along with your family, with your sisters?
That's it.
Because we don't do that. We see the image and we like it, right? Because we think it looks good. But everything that it looks good is not good. But again, it begins and ends with me. If I'm not feeling good about myself, I'm not going
gonna attract anything good to me.
So I have to feel good about Stephanie and love on Stephanie.
My question is this. In the New York City public school system, teachers are to recognize domestic violence with students. How did it separate itself from the recognition? Who are these teachers today in the public school system? That's to recognize the abuse. And it's easy to recognize. I'm speaking as a former educator in New York City public education. I know that has been broken purposely for these stories to spin the way they're spinning. Thank you.
I just wanted to say something to all the women out here. I was fortunate to have a mother that loved me so much. I thought all women were like that. They spoiled me. And to me, God is a woman. I mean, the woman who gave birth to me was God to me. She's God to me today. So any man that abuses a woman is abusing God. You're the human gods on the planet. You produce life. So it's up to you to make sure that every man loves women. You're our creators. I mean, why is there a problem? So it's all up to you guys. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. My apology. Two more questions. Where are your hands? Okay.
I have just wanted to make a statement. My abuser didn't know he was abused because he was mentally ill. So that's a different level too.
It is.
I am a nurse, worked in psychiatry, and learned early on in the South. I'm from North Carolina. And my mother was the type of woman that really could hold her own, and she did not allow her brothers, starting with her brothers and all that. But in the South, we had courtship. You have to learn. You didn't just get to know somebody right away and get intimate with them. You had to learn who their families were, and that was a question that you asked because I've been married twice. It was not, that was the cardinal rule, you don't put your hand on me. And so when you're brought up with a strong mother and she took care of not only herself, but she did not allow my father had to leave because he could not handle her physically. But I think it's a mistake. We need to talk to our children because converse with them and get to know them and tell them how special they are as girls and boys, because the boys that you say, it happens when they see, they emulate what they're seeing in the family, in the house. There's a lot, because of our history, there's a lot of physical hitting. I work in the school system, I see the boys and girls playing, hitting, cursing, right now on the street, running and ripping and whatever. But we need to teach our girls that love does not hurt. And I know that when a man hits you, the first time, don't think it's not going to happen again. That one-time slap or a rough play, don't go any farther with that relationship. Get out before you get emotionally involved. First time he hits you or slaps you, move out.
Read them back.
I know that's right, Ms. Catherine. I know that's right. Because let me tell you, my ex-husband thought I was soft, right? He thought I was soft. So he tried that. He hit me. But when I punched him back, he knew that was it. So you know what? I didn't have to leave. Because he knew he couldn't win this battle. He left. And I've been happy ever since.
on doing whatever they do. That's number one. Number two, when you have a strong father and a mother that's together and don't do all of that stuff, like my father said, he said, come here, I want to show you something. And he showed me a wall. I said, it's a wall with a whole bunch of holes in it. He said, yeah, that represents your mother's face. He said, every time when she gets me mad, I punch a hole in the wall. He said, your face is going to look like that wall if you ever put your hands on a woman, because a man is not supposed to hit a woman. He said, that's why I take it out on the wall. He said, so when you feel like you want to hit a woman, he said, sleep in the car, sleep on the bench, sleep outside anywhere, but keep your hands to yourself. Because if I ever find out that you put your hands on a woman, your face is going to look like that wall. And don't forget it. And I never forgot that. And see, that was a father teaching a son not to put his hands on a woman under any circumstances. So, in one sense, no offense, ladies, when I say this, in one sense that's good, and in one sense that's bad. Because you don't put your hands on a woman, but if you get with a woman that wants to put her hands on you and abuse you and throw all kinds of stuff on you, you let it happen because you know what your father taught you, never put your hands on a woman, so you don't even fight back. And meanwhile, that woman that wasn't with you when your father taught you that can hurt you seriously because you abided by what your father has taught you. That's what I want to say.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to piggyback on with the sister, the moderator, sister, I'm sorry, her name is Stephanie. Yes, definitely remember to do the background check. And this is very serious. And I just go back with me 40 years ago. Me and my sons, we fought like that. So it came from a fight to guns. I had one and it was his, and he had one. And somebody had to say, put it down. But that's 40 years ago. But I had to move to California behind all this. But when you put God first, and you remember that, you don't worship man, trying to keep man and running from, you worship God. That makes it easier for you to say, no, you might be handsome, you might have a whole lot of money, but ain't none of that worth it, because God is who you're supposed to be taking all that time and energy worshiping. So I just say, and piggybacking on this great young woman here, make sure that you talk to the young people, because everybody here look like we might be a little seasoned, and we already know we ain't taking tea for a fee. But some of the young people don't get it. You understand? So we gotta pour into them, because this domestic violence thing is real. So pour into them, every chance you get, if you gotta take them out to eat, because they can swear they know everything. So, you know what I mean, meet them where they are. And I appreciate this, I really do. I really appreciate the Women Auxiliary. I just want to make sure that y'all know that I am on.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm coming back. I have a question up here, Brother Dre.
Our beautiful,
Last summer, my beautiful goddaughter was viciously murdered by her own brother. She was stabbed up, 19 times? Before that accident, she would always come to the house. My wife, she was like a daughter to us. And when she had problems, she always came to the house. But that's my beautiful goddaughter. This sister was right there for us. And it was so bad that they couldn't even open the casket.
Oh my God.
And we was there that day, and housing went up there, and they asked us, no, I ain't going up there. the crime scene was so, but her mother was in the house. And then, and she locked the door. And the brother went into the guy from the stabbed her.
She was on her way to get the order of protection. Wow. The police had came there the night before, and she was on her way to get the order of protection. We're dealing with this case right now because the police did some stuff we need to discuss. But we were on the scene because we work with the police. And they called us and said it was a horrific murder. When we got there, Shayla's mother was sitting on the steps in Lincoln Projects on the 3rd floor with bloody clothes, bloody shoes. And I said to the police, who's that lady? Because we know how to jump down in the hole. I told you, we get down in there because these are our people. The police said, that's the mother. I said, the mother of who? He said, the young girl that was just murdered. We just picked her up and said, come on, let's go. We took her to our office. We changed her clothes. We went to Burlington Flow Factory, bought her shoes, panties, bras, and then we put her in a hotel and started the process. That's who we are.
This process could have been avoided a long time ago.
It could have been avoided.
Because the brother and sister, he was very abusive towards the other sisters and brothers. And he also got in trouble. See, the police already knew about him. But the mother allowed him back in the house. He had mental illness. And then him and Sheila, my granddaughter, my goddaughter, excuse me, they got into it. So she left, all right? And then started staying with us, and staying with family members. She graduated. She was on her way to college. We was about to take her out. I just came home from work. And my wife was begging her not to go back to the house. And when she went back to the house, Sheila was cooking something. The brother, they started arguing. They went to sleep. And Sheila went to the shower, and that's when he took advantage of her and stabbed her 19 times. Like I said, it was so sad that they couldn't do nothing. So they closed, they came. And the castle was now open. That's how bad. But on top of that, this past week, a Spanish man and a Spanish woman got into an argument in the subway and pushed her. Now she lost her legs. I was raised by two beautiful parents, my mother and my father. My mother was not here, but I dedicate this month because she was a strong black woman to teach me how to treat a woman. My father taught me how to respect a woman because if a woman put their hands on you, you're going to do it because you're more physical than that person. You understand? So man and woman, we have to learn to love each other, to sit down. We don't have to, it's terrible to put a gun to a woman's head, be somebody, it's just not, I got 3 daughters. Woo! Well, boy, I'd be in jail right now if somebody touched my daughters. You know? God took a boom from a man and made woman. And without a woman, man wouldn't be nothing. Because without God, back's grown to us. So why beat up on a woman? Why try to kill a woman? I love y'all. Peace and blessings. Listen, like how Claire runs, she runs too. Go to her.
Thank you, Brother Gray, for sharing. Okay. Somebody you have a question? Okay.
How you doing? I just had I've been listening to that, so I just kind of wanted to get like input from like the older women, because on social media, like right now, when it comes to the young crowd, let's say between 19 and 28, when it comes to, I'm sure maybe some women in here even have this phase, like a lot of girls like this bad boy image. They want the bad boy, they want to date the bad boy, whether it's the drug dealer or just not the guys, the 9-to-5 guy, or got one foot in the street and one foot in something else, and they find that right now on social media, that's really attractive to the young girls of this generation. So right now on social media, I'm not sure, I'm sure everybody has children and grandchildren, so I know you may know a thing or two what's going on, but it's like a back and forth between, in black social media, between men and women about what's right, what's like the conversations are going 50-50 in the household, and a bad boy and dating a guy, the working man, a sucker, and girls requiring things. They go with these bad boys, and then they see the image of like the street stuff, but then when it's behind closed doors, he start putting his hands on her and everything like that. That's the ugly part that a lot of girls in this age bracket don't show online. They just show when he's buying her things, taking on these trips to Dubai and Miami and Cancun, and they show all the glitz and glamour, but as soon as he upsets her, or as soon as she upsets him, or whatever the case is, he's going upside the head. And that's, what would be the advice, like, especially from, if you was at that point in your life as a young girl, of course you've outgrown that and you know that wasn't the way to live romantically, but what would be the advice to these young girls and even your young self about picking those type of men with those type of backgrounds? What would you tell yourself and tell the young girls of today?
That is so good, and I appreciate that you brought that. I'm not really on social media because I know it's, to me, is a demonic thing. It's man created it, right? It could be either good, be used for good or bad, right? But what I would say is play the whole tape. Because sometimes we just play what looks good and what sounds good, and you know, we get into the flashy cars and we get into the flashy jewelry and the clothes and all of that. I was one of those girls when I was 16 and 17 because I came from poverty, and because I came from lack, and because I came from deprivation, and because I didn't have those things. I went to them because I thought it was going to fill that void, but nothing fills the void, that crippled spirit inside. Nothing can fill that, right? But I would just tell the whole story, and I think we need to get on social media and start talking about our own stories, right? Because no one is telling that story, and everything, material things can't buy love, right? Dubai can't buy love. Miami can't buy love. But if you are a broken, wounded soul before you get into those things, then it's attractive, right? Because it's like it's feeding me something, it's giving me something. Because the sister said, you know, I don't have no spiritual connection to God. I don't have no spiritual connection to my soul. I don't have no spiritual connection to my being as a human being, right? So then I'm going to attract those things because it's going to give me instant gratification, but it's long-term suffering after that, right? So I would just start talking about it, right? I would start talking about it because the other young girls are going to come and they're going to see it, they're going to say, I want that too. But we have to teach them to learn how to love themselves. Because once you love yourself, then you're rich in spirit. You know, you don't need the fancy stuff. You don't need the jewels. You don't need the big houses. You don't need the trip. Because once you're rich in spirit and yourself, you have everything you need. I think I talked about once you go in, and this is here, you'd have to go out. So I would just start talking about it. And thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, this is going to be our last question because we have Queen of Four here and we want to get into her session.
Yes.
So last question.
Okay, I have a statement. Ladies, my sentiment is the first time a man hits you, you're a victim. The second time he hits you, you're a volunteer. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to turn it over to Queen of Four.
Thank you again, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Amazing. But you know what I saw, you know what I experienced? That is, violence is in all of our lives. That was one person after the next really spoke about either their experience or their children's experience or their best friend's experience or their neighbor's experience. But violence, this whole system that we've been stolen into is based on violence. 8 generations of violence, 400 years of chattel slavery. We were raped, we were whipped, our men were castrated, we brought babies into the world,
as teenagers that would go on a plantation to work. So we were always, it was never about family, it was never about wellness, it was never about wholeness, it was never about prosperity, it was all about being used. And those generations, things are passed down to generations, that's passed down. And so now we're left, it's like out here like this, and all of us have been beaten up. I myself, I had a mother and father. My father was a guardian, my mother was a civil rights advocate. And I went into the world, and I had a violent husband. And I understood, I have two children. So the two children, it showed up at the second child, but then I forgave and had a third child. And then I was in it thick. But I had a question. I said, you know, if I stay here in this marriage, my children will only see violence. They'll see it on a regular basis. What human beings will they become if I stay here? So it was a sacrifice to leave, but it was salvation to leave. Amen. So it was so deep to my daughter. She was 3 years old. She said, Mom, let's go to grandmother. You have a 3-year-old telling you it's time to leave. What? Is that loud? That obvious? You try to hide it. It's not to be hidden. It will be seen. And the children feel everything. So that means the children are being attacked. It's not just you being attacked and you protecting you. The children are being attacked as well. So we have family healing that has to go on. All of us have to heal. The women have to heal. The men have to heal. And so our relationship together is, when the blood is on the body, and either the woman is killed, the man is now in handcuffs, you're being called in. Somewhere inside of that, maybe several times to one family, because it never stopped, and they don't know how to get out. And I call that the trap. We have trap kings, they're lifted up social media. Trap queens, you ever heard of that? We also have trap food, fast food everywhere, in our homes, fast food. Trap food that makes us react to each other violently. We have trap music that keeps us in a violent rhythm. When I see that music, my children were growing up, I said, wait a minute, I like the rhythm, but what's being said? Right. What's being developed in your consciousness? Then what about what we look at that gets to get on television, social media, is all violence. Social media is basically on violence, whether it be verbal violence, attacking one another violence. So I had to look at violence very close, because violence is looking at me very closely. So on one side, for some years, I've been with Erica Ford, who her work is gun violence, to stop the gun violence. And I've worked with her and helped the mothers, sons and daughters who have been killed in the street, husbands. And then on the other side, from 2017, I've been with Stephanie McGraw, more. And that's domestic violence. And whenever she calls me, I find myself coming up to Harlem. And it's called Period. So the Most High put us both together because I'm in the centrifuge of violence. Every disease is a violent act to your body. I was an asthmatic as a teenager, I get why. And what is that? What they call your asthma, getting an asthma attack. What about your heart? When you get a heart attack. What about when you curse somebody out because you were triggered, there's a gun. The word trigger, that means you're having a violent mouth, a violent thought, a violent feeling, violence passed down to the blood. So we all got to do a detox. I knew I had to do a detox. I started as a teenager. And I started to detox my chronic asthma, my chronic allergies, my arthritis, my chronic PMS, all that poison into me. I married someone with all that poison in me. And that was a frequency. I had violence in my body through the foods that I ate, which created the thoughts that I was thinking and the feelings that I was carrying. And that's a frequency that pours out of your being and it fills up the room. You know, you come into a room, things are good, you can feel it. Right. But same thing in your body. Some people can feel each other. Say, oh, that's a violent man over there. Let me just, oh, that's a violent, angry black woman over there. And so we can feel each detox, with complete commitment, you will flush out the violence that's in your heart that was passed down to the generations, the violence that was passed down to what your mother said or your father. There's someone who talked to me and they're angry at their mothers and they said, my mother was violent. Or the father was violent, he didn't stay in the home. That's a violent act to a child when the father has to leave because he has no control or he doesn't have answers. So with the violence that's happening in the broken families, our daughters would not be pulled into these relationships if they have both parents in their lives. So we have to clean up both parents. Not in the same house if they're both sick, but separate them because that's a rite of passage. One of the things that we're missing is a rite of passage. Thank you for our Kenyan sisters, for Kenya. Thank you for being here because I remember the violence that you shared with us at the UN. And that, like, I never heard anything like that ever until you spoke one day. I said, another level of violence. Well, I raised my voice. That was kind of violent. But you spoke about mothers who go into the hospital, and many of them are told to have a cesarean section, so they'll be asleep. I was one of those, so I know it could happen. And because I was unconscious, I didn't know how to heal myself. I know now how to prevent all of that for the women. And so when you're asleep and you wake up to see your baby, and they tell you the baby has died. They've stolen the babies from the womb. Whoa. And that's they call it black market, or considered because it's violent. You're taking a baby and you're selling the baby to become a violent being, to fight in war. So they're raised up in a violent state. So what will they do but be asked to be violent to each other? So on so many levels, you can't keep up with the level of violence. You have a violence on your wall. There's picture after picture after picture of all these women that have been killed, shot to death. We came together last year again. It was like a research. My daughter said, call Stephanie McGraw from WARM, and y'all should do something for Women's History Month. Here we are again, right? And I called, but when I called, you said I'm on the floor because I just came from a funeral of a husband who killed his wife and he had 7 or 8 children. And that's all, 7 children, and that's what you're hearing. You're like a shield. You put your life like this, and the bombs are hitting your heart, your soul, because you're trying to save another black woman, another black family, so all of this is what's taking place. So there has to be a radical shift within all of us that we will clean up. That will take all the violence out. You know, there's restaurants all in our neighborhood, they call our neighborhoods food deserts.
Yes.
If it's a desert, that means there's no real food.
Yes.
You're eating, you call that food because you open up your mouth and put it in your mouth. That's not real food because it's in your mouth. And we say that's real food, but you know what that unreal food is going to do? It's going to cause sickness in the body. It's going to cause emotional, psychological, spiritual cancer. It's going to cause emotional, psychological arthritis, aches, and pain. You cannot move forward in your life. It's going to cause psychological damage. So all you can do is get a damaged mate.
Yes, ma'am.
And all you can do is attract children and birth children that are sick. So we have to really do a full, I've been doing this path for 54 years. So I'm very clear what it's going to take to resurrect a nation of people, home and abroad.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to take a consistent rites of passage detox.
Yes, ma'am.
And when my father is a God, he said to me as a child, I was his best student. And he said that you're more like me than my sons. And so I lived in a Berlin house because my brothers couldn't care for me because I was the favorite, which is not a good thing in a family for the family to grow. The whole family has to be the favorite. But see, in that house, it was stress. So that's the asthma. That's the pain in the body, the joints. So it started before I even got to my first little boyfriend that beat me up. And then the husband that beat me up. And I said, whoa. And then so life. Every young sister there was told to come out on some level. Even they told themselves to come out. That's called a day too late. And the children are destroyed because of it. The husband, he didn't want to be that way. That's why the 3 men who spoke, they had to speak up. But that was a deep statement. You talked about punching the wall. It's either I'm going to punch the wall or I'm going to punch my wife. But he had rage in him. He came to the relationship already sick. He came to the relationship already needed healing. So he gave you the best he could give you. He said, don't punch your wife, punch the wall. But the punching the wall is punching yourself. So our women need healing. Our men need healing. Our children need healing. We have to detox as a holistic community. So in coming here, but first of all, thank you for having me. It's about action here, right? Yes, action. It's about action, it's about now. And you know who's going to make the shift? The brother just said, the women, this is the prayer that our ancestors gave to us thousands of years ago on the temple walls. And repeat after me, because I want you to hear this prayer, because you're going to come out of whatever Bible state you're in after this prayer. This is to identify who is the healer in the home. The woman. She's the healer. And so once she gets her tools of healing, then she rises above the violence. And what ends up happening, either the man who is violent will leave out because there's nothing to punch. There's nothing to grab. There's not even a conversation of violence. It's been wiped out of the home through her own transformation. So this is a prayer speaking to the healers, and the original healers is the Black woman. All holistic health, it comes from us. Holistic health is $1 trillion business. Why are we the sickest people? Why do we have the highest level of diabetes and high blood pressure and suicide now and fibroid tumors? 90% of Black people have fibroid tumors. There's something wrong with that. And 45% of Black mothers are dying in childbirth. There's something wrong with that. Why do we, the sickest people, and we are the originators of holistic healing thousands of years ago? Yeah. So I want you to do this rhythm with me. Everything I say, no matter what it is, this is my research and writing for Sacred Woman. Whatever I say, so we're going to pull it all back to us. Because we don't have to be victims of nothing any further. So all I want you to say is African natural lifestyle in rhythm. You ready? No matter what I say, don't get caught up in what I'm saying. I want you to say what? African natural lifestyle. And y'all, yes, mothers from Kenya. Mothers from Kenya, stand up here with us. Come up here with us and stop. Just pull up 2 chairs. One on one side and one on the other side. We're going back to the motherland. Brothers, can you pull up 2 chairs for the mothers? They don't have to touch a chair. Brothers, can you pull up 2 chairs for the mothers? Thank you so much. One on one side and one on the other side.
One here. There's 3 of them.
There's 3 of you? Then bring another chair up. Thank you so much. Come on now, come on. Okay, she's keeping it correct. Unity, you said that I am you and you are me. So from the time you spoke about that violence from the womb, and womb healing is my main work, it stayed with me throughout, and then it stayed with me all this morning, and when I was wondering if you made it, and you made it, because I said, Sacred Woman, Global Sacred Woman Village is what we're going to support your work, because your work is our work. Yes? And one of the things that we must have is a birthing center, because when we have a birthing, that's a check and balance. Yes. If you just drop us in the hospital, oh well, another child going down, another mother devastated, another family broken. But if we have a birthing center, and those women from here can come to 6 months of volunteer work, because you said it was lack of nurses to help a midwife, there will be love happy to be a part of our circle, That will change the whole thing. Because they're not going to change on the inside, only we're going to change, as you said, Stephanie, from the inside. We have to change. And I thought about that all night till this morning. I said, oh, that's what we have. Birthing centers, so we must make it happen. And so with all of this, we have Africa, born us, born Harlem, Brooklyn. This is me here, this is us, we Africans. Then we have from the motherland. And what we have to do is we have to reconnect. Because when I see, at the United Nations, when I see the African women born, they don't connect to us. They look at us and they're talking to everybody else but us. That's what I feel. You went past that, and we connected, but you pushed it. You made sure that we connected. And we quilted together, and that's how we can make a difference. Because if you go to the United States and keep talking, nobody's going to hear you and is playing with us. Another not-for-profit ain't doing nothing, but your company is doing something. Erica Ford is doing something. And this organization, National Action Network, is doing something.
Yes.
Because this is what we have to do, real stuff, boots on the ground, boots in the street, working together, hearing from each other.
Yes, that's right.
So this is a rhythm. Whatever I say, you're going to say what? You remember? African natural lifestyle. Who's the rhythm? Come on. African natural lifestyle. Again, come on.
African natural lifestyle.
Reiki.
African natural lifestyle.
Yoga.
African natural lifestyle.
Meditation.
African natural lifestyle.
Herbology.
African natural lifestyle.
Energy work.
African natural lifestyle.
Polarity therapy.
African natural lifestyle.
Hydrotherapy.
African natural lifestyle.
Astrology.
African natural lifestyle.
Color therapy.
African natural lifestyle.
Aromatherapy.
African natural lifestyle.
Journaling.
African natural lifestyle.
All of it is African natural lifestyle. So if we recognize that holistic health, which is $1 trillion business, is why they have Whole Foods everywhere. We're not running Whole Foods. We don't own Whole Foods. They're feeding us. So you got the deaf food in our community, and you got some other foreigners giving us some food to survive. How are we going to thrive on foods that are just handed to us? We're going to have to go like, remember the nation this on back in the day, used to go in farms? We're going to have to do our own farming. That's what we're going to have to do at home. Our own farming. Have the food come from the earth so the women are strong. So we can't be fooled and we couldn't have a cesarean section where we're vibrant and healthy and whole and strong. I was looking for the organization that Global Sacred Village could connect to. I was waiting, I didn't know what would happen. It has happened.
You are what you eat.
You are what you eat, but you are what you think, you are what you say, you are what you feel, all of this energy. And if we can clean up all of that, then we're going to be whole women. So I have this work, Sacred Woman. Sister asked me when I came in, she said, so what book is grassroots and what, basically the book that you created yourself? I have 8 books. All 7 of them, I wrote them, edited, had help, and then I put them out myself. The one book that was supported by one of the biggest publishing houses in the world is Random House. And that's Sacred Woman. That's called, you have to pay back us. That's how, from my point of view, that's the only way they could be bound, because now, with this document, they don't know what happened. They don't understand how that I was able to go this far with this document, because they took 7 other books off of the belt for it to come out. The reason why this book and the women responded so deeply, not because they understood what was in the book. They didn't understand what was in the book. They just got it, at some point they had to learn it. Because this is medicine in here. This is holistic medicine, natural healing medicine. You want to know how to heal your womb? That's Sacred Womb. You want to know how to heal the words that you speak, that your words become powerful and dynamic and energizing and transformative? That's Sacred Woman. That's their gateway. Sacred Word. You want to know how to eat to live and eat healthy foods? That's Sacred Foods. You want to get out of being stuck, and you want to get out of being stuck and trapped in relationships and thoughts? That's Sacred Movement. You want to go to your inner child and heal her up so you don't keep having the same toxic relationship from a teenager. You can see how we was at teenagers, we was having bad relationships then. We just relationships. And they kept going, so we escaped, but we didn't escape because it's in us, we have to keep healing. And from gateway to gateway to having your own business. If you don't have your own work, you don't have your own business, you're going to have to accept somebody else's violent tones or conversations or be able to manipulate you or control you for a check. All of these are states of violence. My girlfriend always laughs, and we have our businessman, Queen Esther, she said, Queen Esther never worked for anybody a day in her life. She has never been employed for anybody, for herself. Because I started when I was 17, I was sick. And that led me to heal myself, which was my first book. And after I healed myself of the asthma, the allergies, the hay fever, the PMS, the headaches, the oversleeping, all of that, and my womb heat sickness, when I got all of that, it took me 2 seasons, a half of a year of juicing and cleansing and fasting and praying and bathing and military. I went in on myself so deep because I found a way out of the trap. The doctor told my mother, when the daughter, she's so sick, they gave me the most cold medication they could, the steroids, the pump, all that. They said, they do what they can do. Is that all you got? Come on. That's all you got. It's in the herbs. It's in the plants. Remember Dr. Love, 125th Street and 5th Avenue? He came to us and said, it's in the plants, it's in the herbs. So back in the day, our grandmothers knew. Our grandfathers knew about the red clay and the herbs and the teas and the bushes and the bark. That's our culture. Amen. And even if they stole us, we remember it's in our DNA to remember our culture, remember ourselves. So we fight to remember. There is an affirmation our ancestors gave to us that put me over the top with this word. It said, repeat after me. We're going to claim it. We're naming and claiming our wellness today. I'm not. Violence! Oh my God. I feel so strong about everything I heard today. Every question. We could have been here for 5 hours talking about all the violence that happened to us. The women and the men. The brother said, what about if you have a violent woman? You know a word can kill somebody? A bad attitude can kill somebody? And then you don't have the wherewithal because nobody taught you. Your father may not be in the house all the time and your mother's all stressed out working all overtime. So you raising yourself, you're a latchkey child, and now you'll get a marriage and a wedding and you come together. What? So as soon as you look at you and start yelling or cursing, that's not acceptable. Not on either level. It's not acceptable. So this is the prayer for the women. Open up your palms or place them over your heart. And this is from not me, but our ancestors. I'm just speaking in English. When they ask you, where's that power coming from and that divinity, that peace and that energy of unity, we will say, we are the women. We are the women who light the darkness. Who light the darkness. We have come to light the darkness. We have come to light the darkness. It is lightened. We have overcome the destroyers. We have overcome the destroyers. We are there for those who weep. We are there for those who weep. Who hide their faces. Who hide their faces. Who sunk down. Who sunk down. That looked upon us dead. That looked upon us dead. We are the women. We are the women. We are the healers. We are the healers. Stand up. We are the women. Stand up. We are the healers. We are the healers. We are the women. We are the women. We are the healers. We are the healers. We are the women. Tap your heart. We are the healers. Put your hand up. We are the women. We are the women. We are the healers. We are the healers. We are the women. We are the healers. We are the women. We are the healers. So when Stephanie stepped forward, she had both women and men in her organization, but she had to step forward as the mother of civilization. And she said, you know what? Not another one. Not another one. I'm going to step up and I'm going to find support from here, there, and everywhere. I marvel at how you do that. I marvel at how you do that when you was able to get that big funding. And you said, I think you must have hit the table and said what you had to say for the black women's salvation because y'all owe us this. Amen. You said, give me the money so I can help these women. So when the calls come in, I can be there for them. That's right. I can run to them because I have a righteous team. I can't do it by myself, but you kept going, and I bear witness to your power. It's just like I rose you no matter what. Yes. And most I put us together. Yeah, of course you was tired because you was getting the bullets, the hand grenades, the bombs coming at you. And you know know the system is not supporting us. You know why? Because we have to support ourselves. Ain't nobody coming for us.
That's right.
We have to come for ourselves. What is my mission? My mission is to teach the women all the tools I have inside of my soul on how to take care of yourself. Because if you can take care of yourself, you can break every spell. You can break every chain. You can break every trap. An economic trap, a relationship trap, an emotional trap, a vibrant tumor trap. You can break every trap, and it's inside your power. Say with me, the power to heal me.
Power to heal me.
Is within me.
Is within me.
And I have the mighty power.
And I have the mighty power.
To heal myself.
To heal yourself.
And why? Because I am a healer.
I am a healer.
Hold your sister's hand. Hold your sister's hand right now. We got to bond because we're not going to have another violence conversation. Again and again and again, and we come home and there's violence, you're going to come home, you're going to serve everybody. Get yourself some frankincense and myrrh, start smoking around your house, open up those windows, light a white candle for clarity, and you say, never again, you're not going to raise your voice to me, you're not going to give me the evil eye, you're not going to push me, you're not going to shove me. It ends today.
That's right.
Bring your power up, and you don't have to, it's not going to be no fist to cup. I'm going to fight you, you're going to fight, but wait! We're not animals, we're royalty.
Amen. Amen.
You said, well, he punched me, I'll punch him back. We all, I said, we're gonna punch, I'm gonna put up a chair. I could do the same thing, but I don't want that life.
No.
Who wants that kind of life? That's a violent life. Right? So we ending that. Oh, we're in that today? We're gonna end those stories. And then we're gonna galvanize up in horror with you to make sure you don't want for nothing, because what you do for us is doing it for us. Just like here at Action Network. We're working together. That's the unity, that's the strength, that is our power, and then they can stop killing us. The systems that are set up to, you know that to be sick is a big economic income. Everybody's making big money from our sickness. You know how much it costs to have a breast removed when you can do some castor or clay packs?
Hello.
Right? Do you know how much it costs for a surgery procedure to be done when you can actually do the aversion therapy and stop eating the flesh and the dead foods that are growing that fibroid tumor? Do you know what it be? You don't have to have that knee replacement and that hip replacement, walking around with plastic in your body, when you can go get some turnips and some kale and some chard and you juice that. Nature has already given to us, the Most High has already given. We're going to be celebrating right now. Because this is spring, this is Women's History Month. Let's claim it as healers of ourselves. My mission, the Bible, my mission is that I teach you how to become the healer of your family. That's 12 weeks. It don't take that time. And then then your home becomes a wellness home. So whosoever will comes into your home, they will come to home with wellness. Because the frequency, the vibration is such a level to everybody levels up. When they come to my house, wherever I am, they're like, oh, it feels so good in here. Ooh, yeah, because I set up the frequency. The Florida water, frankincense and myrrh, a good mop, open the window, a prayer, a candle will raise the frequency. Empty out those refrigerators. You got meat, that's causing cancer. You got dairy, that's causing tumor. You got sugar, that's causing you stress. You got white blood products, that's causing you constipation. I was a colon therapist for 15 years. It's just a clogged colon. Poison blood. That's all we're raised. If I check somebody's blood at the time they're ready to say curse or punch, their blood is toxic. I asked you one time, I said, when does the violence begin? You know, what time, it's a certain hour or a certain day. And you said, well, it happens on the weekends. I didn't forgot that when I was up at your place. You said Friday and Saturday. Because that's when the drugs, your sister talked about, that's when the drugs we take. Why are we taking drugs? Because we don't feel good. Right? Street drugs or medical drugs, we don't feel good. So you numb it out your pain. But your pain don't go nowhere. So since it don't go nowhere, you're going to have to punch somebody out with all that pain. Somebody could look at you, your wife look at you a certain way, she'll make you make the dinner. I thought if I made the dinner and the house was perfectly clean, that I would have no issue. But that didn't help. Then I've been out back I say, well, almost don't say nothing. Wow, this is a prison. I'm in a prison. I gotta escape. Not even a relationship, I gotta escape myself. I gotta escape my lower self. I gotta fast her out. I gotta cleanse her out. I gotta detox her out. See, we don't have no problems, we just don't apply nature. Nature is God's way of saying, I got you all. Don't worry about it. That's when people come to see you. My girlfriend always says, Queen, no matter what the people's problems are, I always say, sit down, I'll tell you exactly what to do. You're asking to call your friends? Sister, I won't say no name. She called her at 8:10 this morning. I said, okay, what do you want? What's the goal? What's the problem? What's the issue? She said, boom, boom, boom. I said, okay, right. I read it. I said, okay, now do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Yeah, I said, okay, join segments, you can have support. She said, my family, they kind of turn their back on me. I said, we have a spiritual family then. And then once you get healed up, watch what happens with your blood family. Amen. Once you get healed up, your blood family will shift, because it ain't about them and those. It's about your power. Ignite your power. Amen. Ignite yourself. Amen. They're not going to, because you can be in a trap of what he did to me 10 years ago, he's been gone. And your whole life is backed up from 10 years back because you're still mad, you're scared of all men, you're scared of women, you're scared of the world, because of all that fear was never healed up. Yes. How to heal us is now.
I need everybody to put your hands together for our wonderful panelists today. Like the jewels and the knowledge that was dropped here today. Come on, put your hands together. Y'all can do better than that. For Queen Afua and Stephanie McGraw and our sisters. Wow. I know I came in different. I'm leaving out here in different ways. She poured some knowledge into us, right, sisters and brothers? So I want to encourage you to continue to support WARM. We all really matter. And continue to support Queen Afua. And as she says, she presents the Sacred Woman, the Rites of Passage program, a 12-week program. And she's going to be around for a little bit. So she has a poster in the back. She has some information, some cards that she can give you ladies. Because I know you guys want to get renewed after hearing that. You want to change, don't you? Right. So again, we thank the Women Auxiliary, our chairperson, Captain Jordan Sharpton, our president, Lisa Goldie Marks. And right before we close out, so every Saturday in Women's History Month, we've been doing, we're going to do a raffle. So we have orange ticketed raffles, and we're doing a 50-50 right now. So they want to know if they can buy some Chairwoman Kathy Sharpton. They want to buy some now, yes. They're $1 each. Miss Audrey, raise your hand. She's coming around with them. So as she does that, I was inspired by both of these sisters. As she sells the raffles, I was inspired by both of these sisters today. Just to close us out before we do the raffle, with a few words from Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but women still, like dust, will rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because when I walk, like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, sisters, we rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. Sisters, we rise, bringing the gift that my ancestors gave. Sisters, we are the dream and a hope of the slaves. I rise, we all rise. We encourage you to be a part of us next weekend. The color is shades of pink. Our host is our woman, Miss Verna Parker. You can wave your hand. And her speaker is Marsha Barner. And she's a friend to the Dan family. So next week, Shades of Pink to honor our women. And those who signed up to volunteer, next Saturday we'll be doing an orientation, myself and Reverend Sharpton, for those who want to volunteer for our convention. Public plug. Most of you are registered, some of you may not be. We have an amazing convention happening April 10th through the 13th, right at the Sheridan. It is free.com. You must be registered, as Reverend Sharpton said this morning. In order for us to know how many seats we need in each room, we need to know. We don't want to say, we tell the hotel we need seats for 200 and 2,000 show up, right? So please get registered. You can go on our website, nationalactionnetwork.net. You can do that right now on your phone, right now, nationalactionnetwork.net. Tell us, are you coming for 1 day? Are you coming for 2 days? Are you coming for 3 days? Let us know. Go to your phone. Listen, this is my challenge to all of the women in here. I know we all have at least 3 friends that we text and talk to for the week, right? We have at least 3 friends, right? Go to those 3 friends and encourage them to get registered and bring them with you. We want to see you. And next Saturday, those who want to volunteer and be a part of the volunteer wonderful team that we have, I'm doing an orientation at 11:45 next Saturday. And you must attend 2 orientations and a walkthrough of the hotel in order to be a valid volunteer at National Action Network, okay? So next week is the first training. The second training will be April 6th. And then you will meet me at the hotel on April 8th to do a walkthrough. Because how do you volunteer somewhere you've never seen or never been to? So I don't want you walking around looking for the bathroom. You should be able to tell someone else where it is, right? So again, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you. We can't thank you enough. And Queen Alfua and Stephanie is going to be in the back. You can go back there and share some information, get some cards, find out how you can stay connected to them. Miss Audrey, you shaking up that bag of money? What we look like? Okay, that's good. Yes, we're done. And again, I also want to encourage any of you who have young people. How many people have young people in their families? Let me see your hands. Anyone with young people in your families? So we encourage you every Monday night right here at the House of Justice, the NAN Youth Huddle. We are here. We talk about ideas. We talk about thoughts. We find out what the young people are thinking, right? And we put those motions into action across this nation. So we encourage you, if you can't come, make sure you join online at nationalactionnetwork.net to watch the Youth Huddle. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, everything. But most importantly, we want to keep our young people off the streets. So if you can bring them with you, we have dinner from none other than Ms. Kathy Jordan Sharpton. That food is slamming, but we don't just want you to come for the food. We want you to come for the information and be encouraged and leave different so that young people know that there's better ways than just standing on corners or hanging out at McDonald's and KFC, okay? So again, we thank you. We cannot thank you enough. Marcus Al, how are you? How you doing? You want to say something to the group? So want to say hi? What you want to say? Y'all better get ready. In a couple of years, he's going to be in D.C. on them steps, talking to the world. Come on, Marcus out. Come on, give him another hand, y'all. Marcus out. He'll be 6 this year. Look at that, right? Time flies. And then a child shall lead them. That's what the book says, right? All right, Miss Audrey, are you shaking it up? Shaking it up. Miss Kathy, are you going to pull the number for us? Marcus out. Can you come pull a number for me?